Blessings of grace and peace be with you today and every day. Hope all of you are healthy and fit. Let's continue our classes. So in the previous class we have discussed regarding the reproduction in algae. So the vegetative mode of reproduction, sexual mode of reproduction, asexual mode of reproduction. So today we will see the life cycle of Chlamydomonas. The life cycle of Chlamydomonas. So first we will be focusing on the asexual reproduction in Chlamydomonas. First we will be focusing on the asexual mode of reproduction in Chlamydomonas. So first you can see here the species Chlamydomonas. The mature Chlamydomonas species will be undergoing a process known as mitosis. So it will be undergoing a process known as mitosis, and it will be releasing zoospores in a structure called sporangium. So this Chlamydomonas species will be undergoing a process known as mitosis, and they will be releasing the zoospores in a structure termed as sporangium. And these zoospores, you can see here the zoospores. These zoospores will be developing into a mature cell. Mature cell in the sense a Chlamydomonas species. So once again I repeat the asexual mode of reproduction in Chlamydomonas. So we are discussing the life cycle of Chlamydomonas. It has two modes, asexual as well as sexual. So first we will be focusing on the asexual mode of reproduction. As I have told you, the mature cell of the Chlamydomonas species will be undergoing a process known as mitosis. So through this mitosis they will be releasing, through this process they will be releasing zoospores in a structure called sporangium. They will be releasing zoospores in a structure called sporangium. And these zoospores, you can see here the zoospores, will be developing into a fully developed species Chlamydomonas. These zoospores will be developing into a fully developed species Chlamydomonas. Now let's pay our attention to the sexual reproduction, the sexual mode of reproduction. Here what happens? Here the mature cell, the mature Chlamydomonas species will be undergoing a process known as mitosis. So the mature Chlamydomonas in the sexual reproduction they will be undergoing a process known as mitosis, and they will be releasing gametes. They will be releasing gametes. It can be of plus type, you can see here, and it can be of minus type. If these gametes are of same parents, then there is a term called homothallic. So if the gametes are from the same parents, single parent, then we can call this as homothallic. If these gametes either it is of plus type or of minus type, then we can call these gametes as heterothallic. Okay, either it could be plus type or minus type. Here it is of homothallic, plus type and minus type. So this plus type gametes and the minus type gametes will be fusing together to form a structure known as zygote. This plus type gametes and the minus type gametes will be fusing together to form zygote, and they releases zygospore. You can see here they releases zygospore, and again they will be undergoing a process known as meiosis. They will be undergoing this. The zygospore will be undergoing a process known as meiosis, and they will be releasing zoospores, and these zoospores will be developing into a fully developed species known as Chlamydomonas. So once again I do repeat the sexual mode of reproduction, the life cycle in Chlamydomonas. Asexual reproduction we have already seen. Now sexual mode of reproduction, once again I would like to repeat. The fully developed Chlamydomonas species, you can see here the fully developed Chlamydomonas species will be undergoing a process known as mitosis, and this will be releasing, as a result of mitosis they will be releasing gametes, and these gametes can be of plus type and of minus type. If these gametes are of plus type and minus type from the same single parent, then it is termed as homothallic, and if it is of either plus type or minus type, then we call it as heterothallic. So here it is of homothallic. These gametes are of homothallic. So this plus type of gamete and the minus type of gamete fusing together to form zygote. So they fuse together to form zygote. You can see here that Chlamydomonas species fusing together to form zygote. Then it will be developing into a zygospore. You can see here it will be developing into a zygospore. Then again it will be undergoing a process termed as meiosis. So again it will be undergoing a process termed as meiosis, and as a result they will be releasing zoospores. So you can see here the zoospores, and this zoospores will be developing into a fully developed Chlamydomonas species. So fully developed Chlamydomonas species. Is it clear? Hope it is clear to you all. So let's move forward. So coming to the second group of algae, that is Phaeophyceae. Coming to the second group of algae, that is Phaeophyceae. Already we have seen the Chlorophyceae. Coming to the Phaeophyceae, they are members of this Phaeophyceae are Ectocarpus, Sargassum, Dictyota, Fucus and Laminaria. So the members of this group, the Phaeophyceae, are Ectocarpus, Sargassum, Fucus, Dictyota and Laminaria. So from these features, now it may be clear that these algae, the color of these algae are brown. So you might have noted these algae are brown in color. So the members of this group is termed as brown algae. So the members of this group are termed as brown algae. Phaeophyceae, we are in Phaeophyceae. We have explained the special features of Chlorophyceae. Earlier we have classified, just to recall, we have classified the algae into three main categories. One was Chlorophyceae, the another one was Phaeophyceae, and the third one is Rhodophyceae. We did not go to Rhodophyceae. We have seen the special features of Chlorophyceae. Now we are here in the Phaeophyceae. So Phaeophyceae, once again I repeat, the members of the Phaeophyceae are Dictyota, Ectocarpus, Fucus, Sargassum and Laminaria. So the members, you might have noted the color of these algae are brown. So the members of this group belongs to, the members of this group of algae are called brown algae. Clear? So let's see the features of the brown algae. The brown color is due to the dominance of fucoxanthin. The brown algae, it is termed as brown algae as I have told you. So that is due to the dominance of fucoxanthin. So other pigments are also present there. Chlorophyll A is there, carotenoids are there, xanthophylls are there. All these pigments are there. But due to the dominance of xanthophylls pigment, they will be masking other pigments. They will be hiding other pigments. So in the Chlorophyceae, you might have noted that this chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, because of due to this presence of the pigments, they are green in color, we have learned. So Phaeophyceae, they are brown in color due to the presence of fucoxanthin, a pigment termed as fucoxanthin. So other pigments are also present. Chlorophyll A is there, chlorophyll B, C is there, carotenoids are there, xanthophylls are there. But these pigments, their fucoxanthin will be masking all other pigments. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. So they vary in color from olive green to various shades of color. They are found in marine habitats. So they are found in underwater. Only the blue-green part of the algae will be reaching the sunlight of those depths, and the brown pigment brown pigment fucoxanthin will be absorbing the blue-green light, and it will increases the efficiency of the photosynthesis. And here no unicellular brown algae. So no unicellular organisms in brown algae. So once again I repeat the special features that which we have seen in the brown algae. As I have told, due to the dominance of the pigment fucoxanthin, Other pigments are also present. Chlorophyll A is there, chlorophyll C is there, carotenoids are there, xanthophylls are there. All these pigments are there, but fucosanthin will be masking other pigments. Okay, and also their shades changes from olive green to various shades of brown can be changed because of the presence of the fucosanthin. And also the next point what we have seen was they are marine in habitat. As I have told you, they are mostly seen in the underwater. They are mostly seen in the underwater. So only the blue-green part of the algae will be, the sunlight will reaches there and in the depths, and the brown algae, the fucosanthin will be absorbing the sunlight and will be increasing the efficiency of the photosynthesis as they prepare their food. And last point that which we have seen is that they are no unicellular organisms are present in the brown algae. But still, the Phaeophyceae shows great variation in size and form. Still, the Phaeophyceae shows great variation in size and form. So, you can see here the image of Ectocarpus. The image of Ectocarpus. They are simple and branched. They are simple and branched. While the Macrocystis, otherwise we can call this species as kelp. So they are profusely branched and they grow up to the 60 meters, height of 60 meters, this Macrocystis. They also belongs to Phaeophyceae. As I have told you, this Phaeophyceae shows great variation in size and form. So examples are given here. Ectocarpus, you can see here the image of Ectocarpus. They are simple and they are branched, you can see here. But the Macrocystis are, so you can see the Macrocystis, the image of Macrocystis, they are profusely branched. You can see here, they are profusely branched and they grow up to 60 meters. Okay, they grow up to 60 meters of height. And these Macrocystis are otherwise called as kelp. So these kelps will be growing underwater forest. Otherwise we can call it as kelp forest. So here this kelps contains lot of living organisms in this kelp. So underwater they form it contains lot of living organisms in this kelp forest. In Phaeophyceae, the thallus or the plant body is attached to the substratum. The thallus or the plant body is attached to the substratum. For example, when it is attached to the rock, okay, it is not a root, we can call it as root-like. So it is termed as holdfast. So like other plants, it is not able to, these roots are not able to absorb the water, to absorb the nutrients, to absorb the minerals. They are not able. These root-like structures that which is attached to the substratum, that is called as holdfast, they are not able to absorb the water, the nutrients, minerals and so on. Only they have one function, that is to anchor the algae to the substratum. Only they have one function, that is to anchor the algae to the substratum. Hope it is clear to you. And also they have a stem-like structure called as stipes. Stem-like structure called as stipes. They will not be having the specialized cells called the phloem, xylem as in other plants. What is the function of xylem and phloem? Conduction of food and water. But here they have stipes. They will be strengthening the tissues, also tubular cells to transport the food. So these types will be having strengthening tissues, tubular cells for the transportation of the food. And next we have here the leaf-like photosynthetic organ termed as blade. The leaf-like photosynthetic organ termed as blade. Okay, so once again I would like to repeat it. The thallus or the plant-like structure will be attached to the substratum. For example, when these algae are attached to the substratum, it is root-like structure, not root like other plants and all, that which is able to absorb the minerals, absorb the water. Here, they do not absorb water, they do not absorb nutrients. So they are called as holdfast here. It is not root-like structure termed as holdfast. And the function of the holdfast is that anchor the algae to the substratum. Anchoring means just anchoring, that means the hold fast, okay, anchor the algae to the substratum, that which is attached, anchoring in the sense attached to the substratum, okay. So that is termed as hold fast. As I have told you, other root-like structure, they don't have the function as other roots, like they will be absorbing the water, they will be absorbing the nutrients, they will be absorbing the minerals, they don't have these functions, okay. Then we have a, this algae have a stem-like structure, but they are termed as stipes. Root-like structure, hold fast, stem-like structure termed as stipes. So these are the new terms to you, that's what I am repeating it, so that you may learn it well. Okay, stipes. So these stipes will not be having a specialized cells called as in other plants, like what we call it as xylem and phloem. Okay, so the xylem and phloem, what are the functions of the xylem and phloem? The function of the xylem and phloem is conduction of food and water. So here the stipes will be strengthening the tissues and also the tubular cells to transport the food. So the transportation of food is taking place through the stipes. Okay, though they don't have the specialized structure, the transportation of food is taking place through the stipes. And the next one we have here is that the photosynthetic leaf-like organ termed as blade. So I hope it is clear to you the three terms that which is used here. First one, that which is attached to the substratum, root-like but not roots, they are termed as hold fast. Second, stem-like, they don't have the specialized sense but it is termed as stipes. And the third one, blade, not leaf-like structure, okay, not leaf, the term it is termed as blade, leaf-like photosynthetic organ. Hope it is clear to you all. Sometimes the phyophyceae will be having nematocyst, that means air bladder, the nematocyst. They will be holding the algae upright in the water. So you can see here the nematocyst. So you can see here the nematocyst structure. Okay, so these are the air bladders that which is present in the phyophyceae, and they will be holding the algae upright in the water. You can see here the structure is in this form. Okay, this air bladder type of structure. They are called as nematocyst. So they will be holding the algae to the upright posture. And also another use of the phyophyceae are Porphyra, Laminaria and Sargassum are used as food item. So this Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum. So you can see here the Porphyra soup. Okay, Porphyra soup and the Sargassum, the Laminaria are used as food. So coming to the reproduction in Phyophyceae, they take place in three methods: vegetative, asexual and sexual methods. So coming to the reproduction in Phyophyceae, they take place in vegetative, asexual and sexual methods. By vegetative methods, fragmentation of the thallus. As I have told you earlier, the fragmentation of the thallus, and these fragments will be developing into a new individual, as I have told you in the previous class. Here asexual, biflagellate zoospores. You can see here the structure of zoospores. It is like pear shape with the flagella. And the next one is of sexual type. So sexual type can be taken place isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. So sexual reproduction takes place in three methods: isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. So here the union of the gametes will be taking place within the oogonium in the Edogonium species, in the oogamous species. So the union of the gametes will be taking place in the water in oogonium within the oogamous species. And here the gametes are of pyriform shape with the two flagella attached here. So we can see here the two flagella attached, biflagellate. So we can see here the pear shape, the pyriform structure and the biflagella. Okay, the two flagella attached laterally, you can see here. So once again, I would like to repeat the reproduction that which is taking place in Phyophyceae. There are three methods. First method is vegetative, second method is asexual, and the third method is sexual. And the first method, vegetative, is by fragmentation of the thallus. As I have told you, the fragmented thallus will be developing into a new individual. And the second one, biflagellate, by zoospores. can see here the pair form structure of the zoospores. And next in sexual method, that is isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. So as I have told you, union of the gametes will take place within the water, within the eugonium in the oogamous species. And here the gametes, you can see the pair formed or pyriform structure gametes with the biflagella laterally attached. So it's clear to you all. Now let us see the life cycle of Laminaria. So we will see the life cycle in Laminaria. So we have seen the examples of Phaeophyceae, isn't it? So the Laminaria, the spores, the photosynthetic leaf-like structure, they will be producing spores in a special structure called a sporangia. You can see here the sporangia, spores are being released in this way. Okay, so the zoospores, the haploid zoospores will be developing into a female gametophyte and a male gametophyte. We can say that this is a oogamous type of reproduction. And this female gametophyte and male gametophyte will be releasing egg and sperm. So during the fertilization, this egg and sperm fuses together to form zygote. They will be fusing together to form zygote. And this zygote will be developing into a young sporophyte. Why it is called sporophyte? Because it will be releasing spores. Okay, it will be releasing spores. So then it will be developing into a young plant, a young algae, then the life cycle continues. I hope it is clear to you all. So once again, I would like to repeat the life cycle of Laminaria. It's very simple and easy. Just listen, just pay your attention. So this leaf-like, you can see here, the leaf-like photosynthetic organ will be releasing spores in a structure called sporangia. So they will be releasing spores in a structure called sporangia. So this sporangia will be releasing zoospores, the haploid zoospores. Okay, so these zoospores will be developing into an individual algae, that is known as female gametophyte and male gametophyte. This type of reproduction we can call it as oogamous type of reproduction. So this will be developing into an individual algae that could be of female gametophyte and male gametophyte. So here, as I have told you, this kind of reproduction is termed as oogamous type of reproduction. And this male gamete and female gamete, male gamete will be releasing sperm and female gamete will be releasing egg. So these egg and sperm, during the fertilization, it fuses together and form zygote. You can see here the structure of zygote. They will be forming a zygote. And this zygote will be developing into a young sporophyte. Why this name sporophyte? Because they will be releasing spores and it will be developing into a young plant, young algae, and the life cycle continues. Hope this portion is clear to you all. So today what we have discussed was the second division, that which is coming under Phaeophyceae. So algae are divided into three phases: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. So we have seen first in the class Chlorophyceae, special features, examples and the life cycle. And in this today's class we have seen the Phaeophyceae, its special features, examples and the life cycle of Laminaria. In the next class we will be seeing Rhodophyceae. So all of you may go through it, read it, learn well. Wishing you all a wonderful and amazing day. Thank you for listening.